everybody, and welcome back to Lioden. It has been a long time since my last Lioden video, and I've gotten quite a few requests to do a video on Lioden, as well as questions on whether I still play the game. I do still play Lioden. I log in every day. There are some months where I play more actively than others. It just kind of depends on the events, mostly. How much I like the event, if there are a lot of items that I want from that event, and kind of also whether or not I have a new king in the works and if I'm excited about kinging a new king. This month is September, which means it is the month of GMO cows. If you want to know why I am excited about the month of GMO cows, I have done a couple of videos on mutation breeding and GMO cows, the relation to mutation breeding, if you want to check those out. But I want GMO cows, so I have been playing much more actively this month than I did last month, which the August event is one that I'm not usually that excited about. There's not a lot going on. I like breeding to the event studs, but that's about it. So what I'm going to do today, because it has been a while, I'm going to do what I did with my horse video when I first came back from that hiatus. I'm just going to talk about my Lioden game goals, and then because I thought it would be a bit too long, I might do a second part on my thoughts on how Lioden has progressed over the years that I've been playing it, maybe my thoughts on the events, just overall game thoughts, because I have had a few questions on what my thoughts are about how Lioden's been doing lately. But spoiler alert, I absolutely love this game. I think they're doing all of the right things, so I won't have to go on too many rants during that video. So stay tuned for that. We're going to start off on my main account today. And for those of you who have not played Lioden, or if you're brand new to the game, Lioden does allow you to create two accounts, and they're referred to as your main account and your side account. Some players will use their side account just for storage because, unlike on a game like Horse, where if you want to make your pet immortal, you can just slap a Philosopher's Stone on it, boom, it's immortal, really easy item to get hold of, and then you can continue doing all of the normal things with your horse. But on Lioden, you're limited to the amount of what are called frozen slots that you have, and freezing is what you do to a lion to make it immortal. But unfortunately, unlike Horse, you're not able to keep doing all of the usual things with your frozen lion. It basically just becomes a pretty trophy. So players will put their lions that they don't want to age up over on their side account, and then they just won't roll over that account. So the lions don't age up, and then they're there until they need them. Or maybe they will do a lot of extra grinding on that account and then send all of the profits over to their main, because you can transfer items back and forth as you wish. However, I and other players, we like to play actively on both accounts, so I send items back and forth as needed. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, we'll officially get started with my main account. This is my current king, Luthien. I call him Luthien. My naming strategy on my main account is that the names are Lord of the Rings themed, and then on my side account they are A Song of Ice and Fire themed. And I've read all of the Lord of the Rings books at least once, and I've read all of Ice and Fire at least once. And with the Lord of the Rings movies, I've seen them numerous times, and then I've seen most of the episodes of Game of Thrones a few times, but I have the Lord of the Rings movies, so I've been able to rewatch those much more often than I have Game of Thrones, but I do have to, yes, use Google to, find names that I need, especially for Song of Ice and Fire, because Martin does like to reuse a lot of the same names. Anyway, we're getting off track here. So this is my current King Luthien. I think his probably 3 times great-grandfather was the last lion you would have seen when I did a video, I think, because I like to keep things fresh and get new designs. So I do not use the option to keep the current king's appearance whenever I crown a new king. I always like to go with the cub's appearance, and then I will add markings and base changers and whatever to make it over from there. So this is my dynasty, my king dynasty for Luthien. And my rules that I play by on my main account, which I've talked about before, I think in my clean versus dirty video on Lioden, my main rule is that my king does have to be clean, which means non-inbred. And he also has to be the offspring of my current king or previous king, if you want to call it. So they're all just sons. Or they could have been daughters, because I will sometimes, if I like the female cub out of a litter better, then I'll choose the female and then I'll just use the sex changer on it. So these are all, this is Casporio, this is Luthion's father, and then Jessamine would have been his grandfather. Illyrio was his great grandfather, so on and so forth, all the way back to my very first king, which I think they call it your rolled king. This is Soulpaw. I did not retire mine early. As you can see, he died age 15 years, 5 months. I have not yet ever retired a king early. I just don't really want to waste my gold beetles on it unless I have to. So I did pay gold beetles though to give him some markings, just some lame ones that you can get via the marking customizer app. There are so many items and just features, stuff online, and that I constantly have to check the wiki and everything, because I can't always keep things straight in my head. So that is my kind of dynasty when it comes to how I breed for my kings. It has to be the offspring. So when I'm ready, when Luthion's getting up there in age, I just kinged him. How old is he? 7 years and 3 months. Okay, so it was several weeks back that I kinged. It might have been in July, I think. I think it was in July that I kinged him. When he's getting up there, usually around the 12-year mark, I'll start breeding for another heir, and his offspring, his son or daughter, will be my next king. When it comes to picking, what do I choose when it comes to who do I want to be my next king? Okay, I know that it's an offspring, but what am I looking for? Well, first of all, I don't care one whit about stats. Stats can just go jump off of a pier, because I just don't care about them. I like the color bombs, the pretty, the contrast, the markings, playing with the bases. So all I care about is looks. What will look good for that next king? Two things that I look for in terms of looking good is that I do love the rosette markings. I know a lot of people think that they're overrated now, which I guess they're overused. I don't know. I love rosette markings. I don't care. I don't choose my kings or make them over in a way that I think will get me a lot of stud requests. I mean, it would be nice just because you can make silver beetles and gold beetles that way, but I'm the one that gets to spend time every day looking at him, so I want to enjoy how he looks versus how much money I think I can make off of him. And I really like looking at rosettes, the heavy rosettes and the mottled rosette. Those are my favorite patterns. But in this instance, I did like his design without the rosette. I think the rosette would have just kind of overpowered everything about his look, which is why I dropped it down to 1% opacity. And that will not affect the pass rate. So I do always like to have a rosette, and unfortunately, rosette markings are extremely difficult to pass. If you want rosette on your offspring, you're just going to have to give it the ochre nawak, which guarantees that the marking will pass. And that's what I do, which is kind of unfortunate because I can't just randomly breed. I can't just keep breeding my lionesses and then all of a sudden, hey, look at that cub. That one is super cute. I bet these other markings would go great on it with the ones that it was born with, especially with this new base applicator that just came out. I can't do that. I have to say, okay, this is the lioness I'm going to breed to. So I have to give it the ochre nawak, and then one of the cubs in that litter is going to be my heir. And because I do use a nawak, I want to make the most of that breeding, and then I'll give my king Buffy balls to ensure that he has at least 3 cubs. Now, for this particular breeding, like I mentioned earlier, I do prefer that my main account is clean. He has to be non-inbred. And I just find it's easier to use chaste lionesses, like his mother, because her lineage is it's wiped, it's cleaned. We know that she's chaste because these are not markings that you can find on a regular newly claimed lioness. Her in particular, I did buy. Normally, I have a lot of fun going and explore, and then I get really excited when I do see a chaste. Although, if she were to pop up on your screen and explore, it might be a little bit more difficult to determine if she's chaste or not because her markings aren't super flashy. But for her, I did buy her because I really wanted the Leonid coat, and this is a breed only marking. So I did end up going into the trading center to find a chaste with this marking because I had no luck finding a chaste myself in Explore. So I went and I bought her, and I wanted the Leonid mark because the Ankh base came out in June, which I absolutely love the June event bases. Those are always bases that I look forward to, especially Bast. Bast is best base, okay? Although, okay, I don't actually remember if Ankh is from Bast or not. It might have been from one of the other deities. I don't remember, but I love the Ankh base when it came out this year in the June June event, and I thought that the Leonid coat would look really good with this. So that was why I ended up choosing the particular female lioness that I chose to breed to, and boom, there you go. So yes, I do love the rosettes. I wouldn't mind getting briar rosette for my next king. It's more of a pink colored rosette. That one would be lovely. And my issue when I was looking for my heir this time is that all of the clean lionesses, the chastes, I guess, that I found in the trading center that had briar rosette, it was on a really low slot. And then that just makes it really difficult to work with because every other marking that you have on top, they're layered. And, then you have a hard time of whether or not those upper slot markings will cover your rosette. The second feature that I look for when it comes to, I guess, features that pass down for my king. So this is very much a lineage project, something that I want to pass down to my heirs, my future kings. I love the cosmic eyes. The cosmic eyes are beautiful. Those I am happy to have forever and ever, unless another eye color comes around that will dethrone it, because I think this is a really nice detail. It's a small detail, but it's one I appreciate. When you're in Explore, these eyes that you see here, the shape will match your king's current. Does it have to do with his karma? I think it is karma, I think it's karma, because he'll turn to an evil eyes if he has really bad karma. But anyway, you can see the eye color here of your king. So if your king had, say, garnet eyes, then the eyes that you see in Explore will look a red toned like garnet eyes. And my king has cosmic eyes. I absolutely love purple and green aqua for a color palette. So I'm keeping these eyes for a long time. And they're kind of sparkly too. Cosmic eyes are a combo base eye. They're combo eyes. I want to say combo base, but they're combo, so you can only breed specific eye types together to produce cosmic. But really, this eye color is so easy to pass because you can breed anything to cosmic and get cosmic eyes. And thankfully, unlike combo bases at your actual bases, this is really easy to pass. So I have so far, knock on wood, not needed to use the item that guarantees that the eye color will pass. Usually one of those 3 cubs, because again, I use the Buffy balls, will get cosmic eyes, and I am good to go. So there we go. Has to be clean, has to have rosette, usually cosmic eyes. My naming theme on my main is Lord of the Rings. Also, what I like to do on both my main and my side, I meant to go here. Let's go. Okay, here we go. Starting I guess the top list would be my first generation. I like to name in alphabetical order just to kind of keep track of how many generations I had. So we started with the top list, first generation. He was the son of Solpaw. And then I went with B for Batista, Calamore, Druin, so on and so forth. So there we go. And of course, keeping track of your dynasty, you can always just go into your dynasty, but I don't know. I just like seeing it on my name of my king, just so it's kind of always there, I suppose. So I think that's pretty much it for my main account, which, oh, other thing that I like to look for when it comes to kings is that I love color bomb lions. The more color, the more contrast, the better. He's not my favorite, but he's up there. I had another king a few years ago that I liked more than him, but I like him quite a bit. He's not bad. He could be better, but he's not bad. Moving over to my side account, this is Kenos. He is still pretty much brand new. I only kinged him last week, and then I finished his makeover a few days ago. So he's only 4 years and 10 months. And my rules for my side account are much loose. It's pretty much no holds barred over here. I don't care if he's dirty or clean. I like doing clean breeding on my main account just because it does add a little bit extra challenge. You have to be a bit more pickier about which lionesses you breed to. That's enough of a challenge on one account. I don't want it on both of them, so I don't care how inbred my king is over here. And he is inbred on his father's side, so no matter what lioness I breed him to in the future, it doesn't matter. All of his offspring will be inbred because it's in his father's line. Now, my goal with him, this particular king, is that I wanted to breed a pulsar. So this was my project for the month of July, which is when you can breed pulsars. Pulsar is a combo base, but this one is a special criteria base because it can only be bred during the month of July. There is an exception that you can produce it outside of July, but only if you breed a pulsar to another pulsar. In July, you can breed more bases together. My particular strategy was to breed an Arctic, which was my former king, his father, Jojen. He was an Arctic base, and then I bred him to prune and Angier base lionesses. So that was my entire pride for the month of July, and I still have some of these prunes and Angiers left over. I will tell you, if you ever want to breed pulsars, it's really difficult. Okay, it's so difficult. I had over 40 lionesses, I'm sure, because my pride on this account was totally full, and I had a few prunes and Angiers over on my main account. Out of all of those breedings, some of the lionesses, because of how early I bred them during the month, their cooldown was up at the end. I could breed them twice. So countless breedings, way too many to count, and I only ended up with 2 pulsar cubs, Kenos being one of the 2. He was the winner just because I liked some of his markings more than the other cub. And of course they weren't born in the same litter. I sold that other one just so I could make some gold beetles off of it. Usually with this account, I go for a king that has a totally different look to my main, maybe in terms of the color palette. I don't care about if the pose is the same so much, but this ended up being an exception because I just loved how the sunrise flare looked over the top of the pulsar. I love pairing the peachy red pink toned markings over the bluer bases because it usually makes a nice kind of purple color. So he ended up looking kind of similar to his counterpart, which they're actually related because I used one of the kings on my main account is his great grandfather or something. I don't know. They're related somehow, but yes, it doesn't really bother me either. Otherwise, with him, with my side, yeah, I don't really have too many rules with this except for my offspring has to, or my heir has to be the offspring of my king, and then I do follow the same alphabetical order naming system that I do on my main account. Although I had messed up a couple generations back. I went from a G to an H to a G again. Somehow I totally missed that the name needed to start with an I, but that's okay, not a big deal. Because my rules are much looser on this account, that means pretty much I can just, unless I'm looking for a particular marking that maybe I can't find on a lioness to buy or something, I can just breed whatever, just breed to all of my lionesses. And then when it comes time to start looking for an heir, I'll just pick a cub that I like the look of. Like, oh, that one's super cute, and I can just go ahead and pick that one and get that one ready to king. And on this one, I also don't care about stats either. So I think that's pretty much all of my goals when it comes to choosing kings, really. I don't I don't try to keep it that. I try not to make it super complicated. Most of my challenge I choose on my main account. For my prides, they're very uninspiring. The naming system, well, they don't have actual names. They just have filing names, I guess, because unfortunately on Lioden, unlike Horse and Flight Rising, where you can see the picture of your pet right there on the lair or the breeding farm page, you can't see your lion in the den overview. And I just like to know what these lions are, their marks or their bases. That way, then when I'm going to breed somebody, I know exactly, who's who. So that's why I don't bother naming them. And I also do not like to add a lot of decor to my lions. My kings are the only ones that I add decor and backgrounds to. I don't bother with the females at all. They just get kind of left by the wayside, I guess. And then the decor that I do have on my kings is kept very minimal just because I like the look of the markings and the bases, and I do not want to cover all of that up. So that's it, I think, for all of my breeding goals per se when it comes to my king. On my main account in particular, one other project or goal I'm working on is to complete the Journey to the Red Alert Crater quest, which is, I think this was released 2 years ago. And I did complete it on my main account just a few months after it was released. But I already did it once on my main account, and I haven't really been in too much of a hurry to complete it again, mostly because some of these tasks, like the one I am currently on, which is to visit 500 dens, they're just very boring and they take a long time. I've been stuck on this one for months now. I was at 200 something dens visited at the beginning of this month, but because you do get jewel beetles whenever you visit another player's den and chase away or stomp the locusts, it's also easy just to spread the word there, but you can only do it once per player. So if I visit the same player's page again, then obviously I can't do it, but I should be able to knock this step out and then move on to the next one. I know the one towards the end where I think you have to sacrifice, donate, whatever you want to call it, 30 newly claimed lionesses so that you can battle the boss, who is really difficult to beat because it took me 3 tries to beat that boss on my main account, and each time you go to fight him you have to get rid of 30 lionesses, so that'll be fun to get there, but I'm not in any hurry to complete this. Upon completion you get the Interstellar Remnants applicator, so you can apply the Interstellar base, and I've already used that base on one of my kings on my main account, so I don't really like to use bases, reuse bases, just because there are so many awesome looks out there and new bases that are even more amazing than the last that come out all the time. So I'm just going to sell that Interstellar applicator whenever I get it. Yeah, I'm working on that here. I do not currently have the Claim a Lioness quest active, unfortunately. I accidentally skipped over the activation of it. I saw the Explorer encounter on my main account just the other day, and I was just clicking Explore too fast and jumped over it. I really like doing that quest though, because you can get a lot of XP when you finish it. I think impression, sometimes it will fill up your energy bar, which is really nice during grind heavy events like this month. So I'm hoping I can get that encounter again before the month is over, claim those lionesses, and also because my king is new, his impression is low. I don't want to waste energy on battles. I hate battling anyway, by the way, and I didn't like battling in Pokemon, which is funny, I guess, because the whole point of Pokemon really is to battle with your Pokemon. I liked Pokemon Stadium, that was fun, but battling on the Game Boy games, because those are what I played. I haven't played on the Nintendo DS or whatever is out now, but I never enjoyed battling my Pokemon, and I don't enjoy battling on Lioden just because it's boring and it takes extra clicks, and when you're trying to grind for event currency in this particular event, winning battles does nothing for you. Don't bother battling the Prophet Lion unless you have it for the Harbinger quest, which by the way I have to turn that in. Don't bother, because I think he only gives you 1 beetle for that if you beat him. and then your energy gets, you lose 10% energy, I believe it is, if you win a battle. So yeah, don't bother with the Prophet Lion. I do have another project I would like to start soon, and that is to purposely breed a random rosette or just try to figure out how random rosette breeding works. So, rosettes are the only marking on the game that can be passed without either of the parents having that marking. And mottled rosette is the exception to this. That one, the one of the parents has to have that marking in order for it to pass. But other rosettes, like these heavy rosettes, the inverted heavy rosettes, inverted rosette, what have you, the ones that are on the rosette page in the wiki, these can be passed just randomly. Now, when I say randomly, again, that means that neither of the parents has to have it. It's not a completely random rule of the die chance, because if you do look at the wiki page, it says they are confirmed, rosettes are confirmed, to have special breeding criteria. What that criteria is exactly is up to the players to figure out. There are tons of theories and conspiracies floating around regarding how rosettes work, but nobody truly knows. The code has yet to be cracked. I have had several random rosettes pop out in the past, but I didn't really take any notes down as to when I bred the parents, like what time of day on the game, if it was morning or night, the weather. And from some of the research I've been doing in the forums, there was a really good post by a player, and I only saw it once, so I don't remember who it was. I should have bookmarked it so I could go back to it. But they, according to their results, it did seem like breeding at night increased the chances of producing a random rosette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take note of all of the markings that both of the parents have for each breeding. Their, I guess, pretty much everything. I'm going to write down all of this information as well as what time I've bred them and the actual time, like game time. And then I'll also write down probably the date. That wouldn't hurt. Maybe it has to do with a certain point of the month. And then also the weather in game, and then whether it's nighttime or daytime. And I think that'll be a fun project to tackle. We'll see where it goes from there. And then I'm going to do some more research in the forums just to see what other information I might want to keep in mind. If anybody has any theories on how rosettes can be randomly passed, please share them in the comments. That would be really interesting to hear more takes on that. And finally, my last major game goal on Lioden is to breed a Leopawn. I have wanted a Leopawn since before I even started playing Lioden. Leopawns are the whole reason why I joined the game. I had seen a video by Pet Simmer Julie on how she got her Leopawn. And I thought the Leopawn art was so cute. I thought the game itself looked like a lot of fun. It had so many of the things that I look for when playing games. It just had, again, really nice art. I liked the colors, and then the fact that there was inherited markings and bases and eye color and mutations and all of these other things. And I wanted to play Lioden because I wanted to get a Leopawn, and however many years later, I've been playing since 2017, I still do not have a Leopawn. I have used so many GMO cows, so many cottonroot barks, lion meats, what have you. And then that's not even counting all of just the regular breedings that I've done without using items, because those items just increase your chances of producing a mutation. It is possible to breed a Leopawn from parents that you didn't use any breeding items on. So, and a lot of players will call that mass breeding if they just do breeding after breeding after breeding either to try and produce a mutation or, a specific base or whatever. I've done hundreds of those over the years that I've been playing, and still no Leopawn, but I'm okay with that. Sort of. I like long-term projects so long as there is a way to see your progress, such as on horse, where I'm trying to increase my general ranking. I can see my progress. I can see my score on that increasing every day, my ranking increasing every day. But with breeding a Leopawn, I don't see that. It's just, another breeding, another however many items spent if I did use items on it, and no Leopawn. So that's the only bummer about that. And it's been my major goal on the game for so long that I don't know what I'll do afterwards. I've got this random rosette breeding project now, which will keep me occupied even if I bred a Leopon tomorrow. But I think my goal after breeding a Leopon will be just to keep that lineage going. You know, just breed her as many times as she's able to breed so that she'll hopefully produce a Leopon baby just to keep that generation going, because unfortunately there is a possibility that you could do however many breedings with your Leopon and she won't pass that mutation on, which would be a bummer. So, you know, that'll be something fun to think about if I ever get a Leopon. That's why I'm trying to stock up on GMO cows this month, which this is not a lot of jewel beetles compared to what some players do. This year I have been grinding more than I did last year, but not as much as I did the first couple of years that I played. Probably just because I've played this event so many times by now that the encounters get a bit boring. It's pretty much the only reason why I like this event, because everything else that you get from here is just pretty tame. I still need to find another omen. I only do the easy quests during this month. I find it totally pointless to do the medium or the difficult quests, because oftentimes, unless you go through multiple bars of energy, it will take you about 2 days to finish those other quests. And to me, the extra jewel beetles that you get from them or the tokens, it's not many more than what you get by doing this every day. So I just prefer to do the easy quest every day and get my guaranteed jewel beetles every day from that. But anyway, I don't really care about most of the items from this event. Black stallions are always good. I do like that. I have a lot stocked up from a previous event that offered black stallions. The Eldritch Immolation marking, that's been out for a few years, so I do have a fair number of these, and it's not one of my favorite markings. Eldritch Ritual, this is new, and I do like the designs for this. The fawn marking in particular, I quite like that one. These bases I don't really care about. They're well done, but I just prefer more colorful bases. And then this is just a main color applicator. And again, I don't really do decor that much, which is nice because that's more event currency I can save. And what do we have in the profit shop? The other item besides GMO cows I like getting from the profit shop, most of this is decor. This is literally the month of GMO cows. I like getting a couple ochre nawaks. So I did buy 2 of these already. The rest of my jewel beetles will be saved for GMO cows. And despite my love of horses, I don't usually get the horse decor because I just think they're so large when they're placed on your lion's page that it just detracts from the lion a little bit. So I don't really get that, but they're super cute. And then there are things you can craft in monkey business for this month. I need to sell some of my rotting food, which is usually how I make most of my money. I sell any leftover rotting food. So let's look for locust. These don't say that they can only be crafted during the month of September, but I thought they could be. But usually if anything is month specific, like the February event items, it actually says can only be crafted during February. I don't know. I have quite a few of each of these. Isn't one new? I thought there was another new marking. I'd have to look in the news. I don't remember. Mark of the Swarm. I think this one is new for this year. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, but I have quite a few of these other ones, so I didn't have to use many locust wings on those. But yep, that's what I've been working on this month, just trying to get GMO cows. And once I get those stocked up and I figure out how many 1% or at least very, very low fertility lionesses I have, I'll start doing some mutie breeding. As a matter of fact, this lady here, I put a hyena meat, I believe it's called, on her to drop her fertility all the way down to 1%, because the lower the fertility, the higher the chance of producing mutation. And then I also gave her the angelic blessing, which is basically a permanent black stallion. She will get pregnant on the first try every single time, which is really nice when you apply cottonwood bark. So I did breed her a few days ago. I gave her a cottonwood bark so that she will lose her litter. What I'm going to do now is, do I have a GMO cow on here? I don't. I do. I'm going to feed her a GMO cow. Let's see. It's all the way at the bottom. Let's see if you can see this. Okay, there we go. That's better. So I'm going to feed her a GMO cow. And then, do I have Buffy balls over here? I do. Oh, I've got a lot. Okay, I don't know how I managed to get that many. There's a couple events that do offer these. Must have grinded very heavy to get these. So I'm going to apply Buffy balls to my king so that he'll have a guaranteed 3 cub litter when I breed him to this lioness. I think that's it. That's all I have to do. She's got the cottonwood bark. She has a higher chance of producing a mutated cub in her next litter. That's the GMO cow. Guess what we're going to breed? I'm going to build a nest for her. Do you guys want to see the outcome of this today? If anybody's stuck around, this is a really long video, so if anybody's stuck around, I appreciate you very much. And to reward you for your efforts of sticking around and listening to me, I will use an instant cub delivery on her right now. I just have to go dig up some gold beetles and buy that item, and then I will be right back. I also realized, or forgot rather, that we, for some reason, received a free instant cub delivery. Maybe it was for one of the packages for Lioden's anniversary, so I didn't need to buy one just now, so that's nice. So we're going to we're going to use the instant cub delivery. Cross your fingers. If I get a Leopon in this video, I'll be through the moon, through the roof, whatever you want to say. Okay, View Lion. And she gave us 3 cubs. What do we got? Well, I don't think I got one because isn't there an achievement for breeding she's not a Leopon because she's not a Leopon, you can tell. But I think there's an achievement for breeding your first hybrid, and I've not yet bred a hybrid, so well, that's a bummer. That's a spoiler alert right there. And this doesn't even have a obvious mutation. Maybe she has a hidden. So we're going to check, label her check, and we'll have to check with the falcon eye. Okay, I don't see anything on here. That is a total bummer, but I did get a prune, so that's nice. Well, bummer, folks. Cottonroot bark on a 1% lioness with the GMO cow. And no obvious mutation. I don't really like the AMPs, the adult mutation presents either. They're kind of boring. They're usually just, the goofy main ones, and most of them are not worth anything. So, well, I'm bummed. Oh, and that one doesn't even have a mutation either. Okay. Oh, check. There we go. Yes. Ooh, that one's got something. We won't know until she grows up. And okay, cool. This one does too. So 2 out of the 3 have a mutation. They will show when they grow up. So all was not lost. This one does not have a mutation at all. This one is a male cub. Has a couple of cute 2 breed only markings. Briar paws. I don't know if that's breed only or not, but I'll just sell it eventually. I don't really bother checking the prices, comparing prices on my lions too much when I go to sell them, unless they have a mutation, a rosette marking, or a rare or special base, because I just don't bother. Otherwise it'd take forever to have to check all of the different characteristics that you could check. So this one is a prune plus an amp, which is nice. Whoops. Again, with my filing naming. Okay, that was supposed to be a +2. Secure. I don't usually utilize brood mothers on here because I can usually prevent them from running so long as I play all every day, because that will boost their mood up to 100%. But for mutations, I will utilize a brood mother just so I don't have to worry about it. Oh goodness. Amp. And nothing else really. So there we go. I hope that was exciting. Wasn't really exciting for me, but I guess it was expected. I should have known I wouldn't really get anything exciting. Something exciting that did happen today, though, was that I did breed a random acromia. So there you go, random, where is it? Right here. This was a random mutation. I did not use any breeding items on the mother. And imagine my surprise when I scrolled down and I saw this cub and I thought, ooh, acromia. So there we go. Random mutation for here, and then the breeding where I actually used a couple of breeding items, and we got, almost nothing. So that is it for all of my Lioden game goals. If anybody has any video topics that you would be interested to hear about or to learn about, please let me know, because I do struggle with not with coming up with video ideas, because with Lioden there are so many features on this site. There are so many things you can do that when it comes to actually sitting down and doing a video on it, I get a little bit overwhelmed just with all of the ideas and editing. I'm not a content creator that likes to do a lot of flashy editing and stuff. As much as I enjoy watching videos like that, I don't enjoy producing videos like that. So if you do have anything in particular that you would like to see on the game, please let me know, because this game deserves all the love and I would like to promote it more than what I have in the past. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I do hope to talk to you soon. Bye.